Okay, it's not every day I go to a Liberal event and find Keith Beardsley there. Dr. Evil, what the heck are you doing here?
Yeah, that's a good question. First Liberal convention I've ever been to, so there you go. Just basically observing, looking at what's going on, checking out the scene, seeing if they're going to renew themselves or not, and they're not, so that means Conservatives are safe for a little bit longer.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's. I wrote one column where it said it was 1990s all over again, similar to the PC party. Haven't changed my mind. They're still debating and passing resolutions today that are from 1993, so it's back to the future.
Well, in politics, do you ever really see anything new, or isn't it always just a rehashing of old ideas with a new twist?
Well, sometimes you bring up the old ones if they've worked, but if you fought for 3-4 elections and they haven't worked, why are you still bringing them up? Or at least come up with a different variation of them, and I haven't seen that at this point.
Now, back in the day, your job was to target the new leaders, like, oh, they've got another one, let me reload. Are the Liberals getting a little smarter? They seem to be playing rope-a-dope. It's like we're thinking Bob Rae might be the next leader, and then you see Dalton McGuinty say something and David McGuinty say something, and then you've got other leadership potentials walking around. We just bumped into Scott Bryce, and who's going to be the Liberal?
Well, I still think at this point it's going to be Rae. I think the new executive will go his way, and that'll install him again. They really need a good leadership race. That's their problem, and they have people there which can do the job, but you back off when everyone's saying there is no one, it's got to be this one person, and those who actually are thinking and challenging back off. It was the same with us back in 1999. Everyone was saying, well, it's going to be Joe Clark, it's going to be Joe Clark. So good people don't run. Mm-hmm. And they eventually believe their own rhetoric. So I think this is part of the problem here. They have Rae, they've got you've got McGuinty, you've got Bryson, you've got other people out in the wings who could do the job. But when everyone's saying there's only Bob, nobody wants it, then the others tend to back off.
What about the chance of someone coming out of the smoke? Maybe there's a name that hasn't been mentioned yet that's going to end up jumping in. Maybe they're just sort of trying to get some media focus, but not give anything away.
It's quite possible. And if you look at the new system, all right, where you're going to have supporters who can now play a role in the leadership, I'm going back again to the PCs, because they're the good example. Look at David Orchard with his organization, which nearly took the PC party. So now you're actually making it legitimate for all these groups and individuals to come forward in a Liberal leadership contest. So it's going to make it much more interesting. And you can get people coming out of nowhere.
But isn't it true that to be the nominee in a riding, you still have to be a party member to vote on them?
In the ridings, yes.
So it's not the Wild West here.
Depending on how they go on their actual voting.
Yeah.
Is it going to be one man, one vote? We're not talking about electing an MP. We're talking about the leadership.
Now, I'm going to be interviewing the gentleman that's on the poster behind us, Zach Paikin, today. I always get excited when I see young people getting involved in politics. Today, walking around the conference center, I've seen quite a few young people. How are things on your side of the fence when it comes to youth?
Yeah, PC's got a huge organization, and youth is a large part of it, and that's where a lot of the reform side in particular came from. And yeah, you've got some pretty good youth here. The policy fight, I gather, is one of the better ones, and to see how that's going to shake out. And it'll be interesting to see, because these are the ones with the new ideas. Sometimes it ruffles the old guard a little bit, but that's also part of renewal. So you need the young people in there. Whether or not they win all the key positions doesn't really matter, as long as they take part.
All right, well, I'm sure we'll hear more in your next View from the Hill column.
Oh, we'll have fun.
All right, thanks, Keith.
Okay.